Well, hello and welcome to our Gold Learning viewers. I'm Fiona Lang Sharp, IBCLC Director of Communications at Gold Learning. Have the absolute pleasure of sitting down today with colleague and very good friend Laurel Wilson. Welcome, Laurel. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Fiona. It's always fun to be with Gold. And you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have to say that we are tickled pink. I like that term. We're tickled pink that you're going to be speaking on our very special Gold Lactation Alumni Day with some other incredible speakers, including Dr. Amy Brown and Michelle Emmanuel. That is coming
Yay.
up pretty soon. I have to tell everybody, if you're listening in, mark it on your calendar, January 16th. That is going to fly around the corner pretty quickly here. It's really, that's not, you can't say next year anymore. It's just like next month. So get it on your calendar. That's going to be a great day of learning, which is going to include Laurel's topic, as you can see on the screen right now. Hold the phone. Diet does matter during breastfeeding. Implications of diet on fatty acid composition and other nutrients. Wow, that is quite the mouthful. Excuse the pun. I mean, diet and all. Okay. Let's get started with you, Laura. Let's find out. Tell us, what have you been up to over the last few months since we last spoke to you?
Oh, let's see. It's just been a whirlwind of speaking events and conferences, and I've been doing a lot of work for the United States Breastfeeding Committee over the last few months, which is very rewarding. And I'm also working on a few projects for next year, potentially completing a book project and some other exciting things that I'm not quite ready to chat about yet, but
Ooh,
lots brewing for 2018.
I think it's going to be an exciting year for everyone, and
It
we're
is.
so glad. We can't wait for those secret updates. I won't tell a soul, right?
Secret. Okay. Yeah, don't tell anyone,
Don't
please,
tell anyone.
Fiona.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, let's get into the topic. I want to know why this really interests you and why you wanted to start researching it in the first place. Like, what caught your attention in all of this?
Well, for those of you who are avid gold fans, hopefully you've had an opportunity to see a couple of my presentations on epigenetics and the microbiome. And the more that I started delving into some newer research around the epigenome, I started realizing that diet was significantly shifting the activation of certain epigenetic factors, as well as the microbiome, as well as what's going on in both the mom and baby based on diet. And that started to fascinate me. And so I wondered what was the main component that was responsible for a lot of these shifts and changes. And it turns out that it's fatty acids. A big piece of it is fatty acids. And so I decided just to do a deep dive
Mm.
into the world of fatty acids.
Sure, sure. And what's really interesting about this topic is that I think that it's a bit misunderstood in terms of, because you hear all sorts of things out there in terms of diet doesn't matter, diet does matter, and everyone's really confused by it. Is that something that you have also seen as well, Laurel?
Absolutely. And also, as someone who's taught breastfeeding classes for the past couple of decades, I have to admit that I had a message myself of diet doesn't matter a whole lot. The focus was focus on breastfeeding, focus on keeping families breastfeeding as opposed to picking apart their diet and telling them that they can or can't eat certain things. And I don't think the message has shifted that much or what we want the message to shift to. But what we do know now is that diet does matter. It doesn't, we certainly don't want parents to shift away from making that decision to human milk feed their baby, um, as opposed to, eating whatever they want. But we do want them to understand that there are some pretty significant potential long-term health changes that can occur by simply adding in some healthier choices to your diet. And actually, it's not just while breastfeeding. What some of the data is showing us is that what is impacting breastfeeding is actually that last trimester diet during pregnancy. So that was pretty interesting as well.
It's like, ooh, the plot thickens.
I
Just
know.
just as you're giving us all those tasty tidbits,
Hmm.
we start to hear that there's more to all of this, which I think is going to be really important. And I think the message is important. I think, again, it is really hard with our mums not to we're not here to turn them off. We want to turn them on to breastfeeding, and so,
Right.
but not providing them accurate information is not doing them a service either. And that's what I know to be true today, because we do have a lot. I find that the generation today is more food conscious. There's a lot of foodie people out there, and they want to know that they're doing right by their infants. And instead of giving them the wrong information or just kind of laying it out there to do whatever you like, it would be really nice to sort of give them an idea of how they can you really enhance what they're doing already.
Absolutely. And the fact of the matter is that so many people now are shifting to a really health conscious um, mode of being. And in fact, we even have a significant number of families that are choosing plant-based diets. And it was interesting to see how that impacts the fatty acid world in breastfeeding as well, and what is potentially the best recommendation at this point. The data is really unclear. But a lot of interesting information, and we want to be able to support and provide best information for what we know now for families who are practicing a wide variety of diets.
Oh, it's just so it's there's just such a it feels like it's just so big, and we can just dive right in.
Hmm.
And we'll just be we'll be talking about this for a long time yet, I know for sure. But I am excited that you're coming and going to be presenting on this topic, of course. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're just really excited to share with our delegates while they're with us? Don't give too much away, of course, because we want them all to come. But perhaps some of your takeaways would be nice.
Yeah, so I think for me the biggest takeaway is the fact that diet does in fact matter, and looking at how we change our diets in terms of adding foods that can really provide DHA in particular, not just looking at omega-3s and omega-6s. And the other piece that is pretty important is looking at a balance of fatty acid profiles in the diet. We have hundreds, actually, a couple hundred different types of fats in breast milk, and we know more about some than others. But it doesn't mean that other fats aren't important or as important as the ones we always talk about, which are our omega-3s and our omega-6s. And another really interesting takeaway too is that some of the data is also suggesting that perfect diet may be linked to our genetics, and so we really may not know much at all. It may have a lot to do with how we have eaten food throughout the centuries, based on where we lived and what types of foods were available. So it's a fascinating world in the diet and breastfeeding
Yeah,
area, and I think this is just a small little peek at what we can expect over probably the next few years.
yeah, for sure. Well, exciting stuff. Thank you so much. And thank you again for sitting down with us today, taking some time out of your day. Always great to hear from you, Laurel, and I'll look forward to seeing you on January 16th, 2018, right around the corner for all of our Gold alumni presentations. And if you do have Gold alumni status with us, it will be free and open access, and then there's a nominal price for everyone else. Very excited to have you here, Laurel. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to all of our listening audience. Bye bye for now, everyone.
Bye bye.